Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Here, this is the spot where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Welcome home, Brains. There's only one requirement to hang out on the edge, is that you open your big brain and close your small mind. Did you bring your thinking caps? It's time to put them on, because the conversation starts now. Elea,
Yes.
what you doing, girl? What you cooking for dinner today?
You know what? I have some lamb, rack of lamb, and I think I'm gonna throw that in the oven. And
You
I'm
know
going
what? That's what I'm having. I'm gonna have some lamb chops with some loaded mashed potatoes, which I don't need,
to.
and some fresh green beans. And I have a feeling I got a taste for some black eyed peas.
Oh my goodness! You know what? That sounds so good, but I don't feel like making them. So I don't like to cook. So whatever's easy for me is what I do.
Well, you're an entrepreneur. You're a businesswoman.
Yeah.
You don't have time to cook. You don't have a chef.
I don't have a chef.
Well, that's up next. That's up next. So thank you for being here on the edge with me.
Oh,
Okay,
look at you.
that's right. Brains, we have Elea Sherrod here on the edge with us. We're going to talk about something very important. This is about your financial planning. See, I got people on there, I got folks that come on the show all the time that yes, I'm still married. I forgot to wear my wedding ring because somebody don't notice it. I was cleaning the yard. But anyway, back to the subject. We're always talking about our money. Okay. And insurance is paramount when it comes to offsetting your risk and your liability, but also building wealth. How you can build wealth. You need to understand the difference between whole policies, term policies. What happens if you have to draw down on that? You know, what happens to your liability, your home, in the event that you don't have insurance? Because the bank is going to come get it. And then your family's looking at you all crazy. How affordable insurance actually is. So she is an expert. She is an entrepreneur, and I can't wait for you guys to share in her knowledge today. Elea Sherrod, welcome to the Edge. How are you, precious?
Thank you. I am fine. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited because what you just said is very important. It's very important.
It is important. And, if you do it now, if you take insurance with your employer, if I'm always getting something from, I'm not going to name no companies because they ain't paying us. But I'm always getting stuff in the mail about getting this type of insurance, that kind of insurance. But before we get into the meat and potatoes, I want you to dial back and tell us a little bit about how you became an entrepreneur and how you started establishing wealth at an early age.
Okay. So back in the early 70s, my father was fresh out of Arkansas. Maybe when was I born? Okay, so it had to be in the 50s. He was from Arkansas. He had an entrepreneur spirit. He worked at the jelly factory in LA. And so he had
When you say the jelly factory,
jelly factory. That's what he always said. He worked at the jelly factory.
so what they make jelly and jams?
They made jelly. They made jelly, and that's when he came here with my mother, and that's the job that he got, was at the jelly factory, and he didn't like it, but he knew he had to take care of his family. Somehow he met an Oriental guy. His name was Mark Wayno, and I remember this name. And he owned this company, and the company was called Cebu Realty.
Hmm.
My father bought that company. Mark Wayno taught him
Wow.
about real estate. So back in the 60s and 70s, my father was flipping property like they're doing now. But in LA, you could get some of the best deals. It's kind of like what you can get in other states now. LA, no, 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 no.
No way.
Not a great place to flip. But that's how he started. He started the company, and we were right in the Crenshaw district. Everybody knows, if you're from LA, where that is. And he bought a building in Leimert Park, and he was an entrepreneur. And as kids, we all we knew was Daddy worked hard, and he came to I guess what at my high school it was where you could bring someone and they would talk to you about career day. I think it was career day.
Okay.
I remember my father coming to career day and everybody was excited because he made over $25,000 a year. And I remember that figure. I don't know why, but they were like, wow, he makes that much money. And this is back in the, 70s, 60s, 70s. And so the path to entrepreneurship, he worked very hard. And with that, he taught us to work hard. We worked from the day we could work in the office. We'd go to the office in the summertime. We answered the phones. My father had a property management department, an escrow department, a construction company, all in one. So I learned all of that at a very young age. How to flip a house. I mean, I was flipping houses when I was young on my own. Okay. And so that's what the bug of entrepreneurship came in my life very, very early.
Well, I'm gonna say something to you, and I'm gonna say something to you, Brains. You know, that is amazing for a entrepreneur and a black man in South Central LA, because I grew up with my father. We didn't flip houses, but my father taught me about financial literacy from a very early age. He taught me about precious metals. He taught me how to invest. He taught me how to let money work for me and not me work for him. So we were very, very fortunate with that. But let me tell you a missed opportunity. My mother, my mother worked for a lady. She was cleaning her house up in Pacific Palisades because I'm from LA too. Girl, the woman told my mother, "Oh, I love you. I love you. I want you to invest in this company that I'm starting. I want to take a little bit out of your paycheck every week, and I want you to invest in this company, and you're going to make a lot of money." My mother was skeptical. You know, she was from a small town, Ohio. No, 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 no. I'm not going to do it. Do you know what that company was, girl?
I'm scared to even ask.
C's Candy.
Oh,
We could have been living sweet like you
oh,
in the jelly factory. Okay.
oh
It was great.
man.
But I took a different approach. I was working at the grocery store. I was a grocery checker. And this woman used to come in with her baby and her nanny, and she adored me. You know, most people do. And she says, "You know what? My husband wants me not to invest in this company. I'm going to build a company. I'm going to make a lot of money." And he goes, "Nobody's going to buy anything from you. Nobody's going to." She said, "Well, I'm the smart one here. I'm the one that's making the money." Long story short, she asked me, did I want to invest in her company? And I thought about it. I thought about the missed opportunity about my mother, and I invested in her company. Do you know what her company was?
What was that?
Mrs. Fields Cookies.
Oh, in the beginning, huh?
Baby, I'm getting checks to this day. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So you have to take a chance. And that's what entrepreneurs are. They're risk takers, but they secure that risk and offset that risk with insurance. Tell us how you got into the insurance business and really the nuts and bolts and what people should know about insurance.
Okay, so how I got into the insurance industry, my father worked so hard that he worked so hard that as most black men, he didn't take care of himself. And so he had heart problems. So
Mm,
at the young age of 45, with a super huge real estate company, he passed away.
wow.
45 years old. He left four daughters and this company, and we didn't know what to do. So within a couple years, we just closed the doors. Now, he had life insurance. So my mom was okay. That was all okay. But with insurance, the wealthy buy insurance for continuation of their business.
Mm,
So I went to work, and I was so tired. We were so exhausted. All I wanted to do was go to work for somebody and answer their telephone because the stress of running a business as big as ours was and being so young, I just wanted to answer the phone and go home. I didn't want any stress, no, no, nothing. The company that I worked for was called Prudential Insurance. And so, as working for Prudential, I was able to meet some of the guys that made multi-million dollars a year. And these were guys in the insurance industry. And I figured, you know what? I don't know anybody that can do that. And so I was in the life insurance business in the beginning of my career. I moved into employee benefits. And that's where I really thrived, helping employers to pick their insurance and help them, making sure their businesses had the coverage and the employees knew everything that they needed to know. And I enjoyed that. I thrived. Well, I met a guy in 2002. I worked for his company, and he sold the company along with his partner to a division of H&R Block. And I said, wow, it was worth a lot of money. And so I had moved to Arizona because I wanted to just start my own business. Now I got the bug again because my father would not have been happy knowing I'm working for somebody else. So I got the bug, moved to Arizona, was starting my business, and he called me and he said, "Hey, you wanna work with me? I'm starting a new company," because he had sold his company, and he couldn't work for somebody else, so he started another company, and that's how I became partner in the insurance agency. And it was for me for a while. It was just me and him until the Affordable Care Act came about. And then when the Affordable Care Act came about, I was touched because my husband was very ill and insurance was very, very important. You have to have insurance. If you go to the hospital, you go to the doctor, and you don't have insurance, they want to know how you're going to pay.
Right,
Services are rendered based on what you have.
right.
So I learned very early we needed to have insurance, and that was my passion, making sure people had health insurance. And I enjoyed it. I loved it, talking to people on an individual basis. Our company thrived. And then when the Affordable Care Act came about, we opened the call center in Burbank. That was my passion. Recently, I started learning about life insurance and having it for estate planning and have it for business continuation. And I thought if my father had known about those type of policies, I would be talking about a different story today. However, I still am an entrepreneur. I love entrepreneurship. And I recreated his company, which was Phillips Financial Enterprises at the time, the big real estate company. I am now recreating that company into an insurance agency.
Wow.
Okay.
So
And
with
so
this
that's,
insurance, with the insurance, though, you are selling life insurance.
we're doing life
Are
insurance,
you doing
and
medical insurance?
we do health insurance, life insurance, and all types of insurance that goes along with health insurance. We don't do property and casualty. I make sure that the people are whole. So I want to create wealthy families, and that is the key. You got to make sure. I didn't know you could use life insurance for wealth building, and you can. You have to have health insurance if you're going to be okay when you go to the doctor.
Right.
Those are just for every day. But life insurance, you can create a wealth plan, which I'm doing for my granddaughter because I want to make sure she's going to be okay when I'm not here 50 years from now.
Well, before you get into that, this is what puts a bee in my bonnet.
Mhm.
Folks, when you die, they arguing over scraps. Okay? The carcass of what you used to be. You have worked and struggled your entire life. It takes $500 or, maybe seven or less to create a living will and trust.
Yes.
I don't know what the problem is of signing your name on the dotted line and letting people know or not know what they're entitled to. Do you want the bank to take this? Do you want your kids to be in probate fighting over your property? Nice pieces of property. Los Angeles, San Diego, San Bernardino, wherever it is, it's a piece of property. There's not going to be no more land.
Yeah.
That, and then also offsetting your debt.
Yeah.
Who's going to pay for the funeral? Funerals are expensive. Okay. I told him just go and cremate me and put me in a really pretty urn. Really,
It
but
happens every day.
yeah, but I'm not putting my money in the ground. That's just me personally. But you got to buy the plot, all of that kind of stuff. And then the other incidentals, what about the jewelry and what about the paintings on the wall? People come in when you die like, like cockroaches. They just trying to lift everything. But why can't or why do you think people are so afraid, number one, to establish a plan? They didn't have a problem when they were trying to get the house and go through all of the rigmarole of getting your credit and getting the down payment and all that. But to sign the name on a dotted line to create generational wealth. Why do you think people are so afraid to do that?
I think that people just don't want to talk about death.
Mm,
People don't want to think that they are going to pass away. My father, for example, he didn't think he was going to die, even though he was very sick. He did not think it. My husband, he didn't think he was going to die, even though he was extremely ill, very ill. So people, they don't want to think about dying, and we have to bring that to the table. And
well, that's a
sometimes,
promise. I mean, death is a guaranteed. Okay, you can stamp that like some taxes. You go
right?
pass away. Okay, and it's not just old people that pass away. Believe me, there's a lot of young folks. Car
Yes.
accidents, sporting events, COVID, whatever the situation may be, you're gonna die. Okay, so I'm
If
here to tell you, newsflash brains, in case nobody told you.
Definitely, because if you didn't think about people passing away, you think about it today. Because how many people they what 500,000 people in the last year just from COVID?
Mm, mm, mm.
So people don't want to think about dying, and then also people they have a misconception that life insurance costs a lot of money. It doesn't. It just depends on what you want. You can get I mean, I did a $250,000 quote. I do quotes. I don't like to because I want the whole person to be okay.
Right.
Quotes are okay. Buy the insurance, get it for what you need. But for about 20, $25 a month, 500,000 to $300,000 of life insurance to leave for your family.
Right,
I
but see,
mean,
there's a lot. Wait, let me dial back, man. And you don't have to go into specifics, but there's this pre-existing conditions, and that's what got me with the Affordable Care Act. I was so, thank you, Mr. President Barack Obama, because if you've lived on this planet 3 years, you got some sort of pre-existing condition.
you're right.
Finger that didn't mend well. You got asthma. Something is going wrong. So if you eliminate those people, that's hard. So that's how it used to be. And then it used to be your insurance was based upon your age. So have things lightened up, changed? Are there more flexibility with insurance companies when it comes to getting
Okay.
policies?
So what I was talking about was a very simple policy on a very healthy young person. Now, the older you get, the more insurance is going to cost. It is just a fact of life. The more insurance will cost you, the less you can buy. So you get it while you're young. Health insurance the same way. The reason the Affordable Care Act was so powerful is that you didn't have to worry about pre-existing conditions. Somebody that has had a heart attack, somebody that has had cancer can get health insurance because the law says it. Now you have to get it during a certain time of year, but because now there's been a change. The open enrollment opened up again on February the 15th, and it runs until May or March. So February, March, April, May, until May. You can get health insurance. You have to qualify for subsidies if you want, and you don't have to get subsidies. There's so many options for health insurance. And I want to make sure that everybody has health insurance. A lot of people look at the cost, but what does it cost you without it? Bankruptcy. I had a friend of mine who, a few months ago, they went to the hospital, didn't have health insurance. They were in the hospital for a week. And now, just the bills that are coming in, the stress is unbelievable. They didn't want to get the health insurance when they could, and then it was too late. You can't wait until it's too late, and that's what a lot of us do. Oh, you don't want to spend the money for that, and they'll pay for Starbucks. I love Starbucks. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
but how much is that cup of coffee every day?
Girl, I'm telling you, not even that. And I'm a shareholder, so I get it. I want you
I
to buy
have
coffee
I
with me.
have I have some stock in Starbucks too.
But no, I'm talking about, just crazy stuff. Just crazy
Yes.
stuff. I went out and got a burger. I ain't gonna name the burger place. I got a burger, fries, and a drink. It was $16 through a drive-through. Okay,
Hmm.
so imagine the people that are doing that on a regular basis that are out working. You
Yes.
could invest that. Okay.
Yes.
But what I want you to do is I want you to tell us a little bit about how you can create wealth with insurance.
Okay. So just a little bit of how you can create wealth. We have these policies that are called, should I say it or just, we have policies where you can put money in and invest money, and there is a guarantee that you won't lose it. And those are the type of policies that we design and we help as life insurance agents. I help families to make sure that they can't lose money with that life insurance policy. And we build, it builds cash value inside that policy. That at a later date, once you build up, now it depends on how much you pay per month into that policy or per year into that policy, how much you can take out when you're 55, when you're 65, or when you're 45 or 35. I'm designing a policy for 30 years. Then in the 31st year, then you start taking out the cash value tax free.
All right.
Okay.
So now let's
Those, that's what we design.
okay, now I'm not going to go into the particulars because I want my brains to contact you and one on one because it's very individual. But does
Yes,
that generate any interest?
it does.
Okay, and is that do you have flexibility with this type of policy where you can invest it in other vehicles? So
Absolutely.
stock or whatever. Okay,
Yes.
so
Yes.
that's all.
Absolutely.
That's all we need to cover here on the edge. Then the
Yes.
nano, I might call you because
Yes.
the nano details is important. Long term care. That's what I'm
Oh my
looking
God.
into right now. Okay, because I take care of my 91-year-old mother. And mama's, it's changing now. Things are changing and it's breaking my heart. But I tell you, the care that I give my mother is absolutely stellar. She don't have a crumb on her face. We say our prayers together. I put her socks on her feet. Uh, that might not be for some people. There's a lot of people that don't have people to come and see them, or they have an abundance of wealth and they're hoarding. They're in their house by themselves. Nobody knows. Long-term care is very important now for people to consider. What is included in a long-term care policy? Is that, not just medical, but is that, for maybe a nurse to come in or you'd be in a nursing home? What does long-term care look like and mean?
Long-term care is exactly what you said, long-term care. So we, when we're young, we don't think about it again, that eventually someone may have to take care of you. You may not be able to take care of yourself. I just recently had a client. He had a stroke over the holidays, worked every day, young, young. Now he can't even use the right side of his body, but he doesn't have long-term care. The insurance company says, "Oh, you can only have a person to your home so many times a week. What about the other time that you might need someone?" So long-term care takes care of your daily living needs. If you need to hire someone to come into your home to take care of you, give you a bath, help you with eating, help you go to the bathroom, you don't think about that when you're young. You need to buy it when you're young. And those are the things that education, we need to educate people. Now, you can also, even if you miss the opportunity to get a long term care policy when you were young, because it's expensive the older you get, you can get policies that they've created recently called home care policies. So you can buy a home care policy where you can hire someone to come into your home and take care of you for 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day, how many ever hours that you need. That's less expensive, less costly than a long-term care policy if you waited too long. So I have that because I waited too long and I'm in the insurance industry. Hey, brains.
All right, but you know what? Let me talk about these brains. Uh, you are in the industry and you're
Yes,
smart enough to figure this out.
yes.
But, brains, there's a thing called entitlement, and they're checking the box. And everything is not a plus, it's a minus. You are counting on Social Security, you are counting on Medicare, you are counting on Medicare, you are counting on a pension from a company that you work for that's now gone belly up or it's going belly up. All these things that you think you're entitled to, here's a news flash, another one. Okay,
Yeah.
it ain't happening. It's
Nope.
not happening. It is diminishing day by day. Even the Affordable Care Act. Now they struggled. Let me tell you, they struggled. They really tried to get rid of what they call it's the Affordable Care Act brains. It's not Obamacare. Okay. So let's
Right,
get that clear.
right.
They did everything that they could. Okay. And John McCain, bless his heart. Okay. He was a saving grace. But these very same people that don't want this long-term care or affordable care are the same ones that are standing in line for a COVID shot or on a ventilator or on
Hmm.
a respirator,
Hmm.
and you don't have insurance. Where you think it's coming from? Down there in bum F Kentucky, okay? You down there and uh just woo, help me, Holy Spirit. Okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
because the simple fact is that we need this. Now I get it, socialized medicine and all that, and you don't want to do this and you don't want to do that. But what hurts me more than anything is that I have worked and my husband has worked for over 40 years. And if something happened to us today, and we would have to sell everything that we had to
Right.
be able to take care of ourselves. I'm
Hmm.
not able to walk into a government agency and say, hey, I'm under retirement age. Can I get XYZ benefits? Oh, no. Well, okay. Well, do you have this? Do you have that? Well, you're going to have to sell this. Well, you're not entitled to this and you're not entitled. Oh, okay. Well, you got Social Security. Let's do this. Let's do that. It's just a run on uh, nonsense, I think. And it really, really annoys me, especially in America. When they're working with you, Aaliyah, this is what I'm talking about, brains. This is when you're a brain. This is when you're smart. When you have the forethought. It's not an afterthought. You got to be thinking ahead. Am I correct?
You are correct. And I attest to it. When I was younger, I didn't think about it. I'm thinking about it now. And I have the resources and how I can put stuff together. I can put a few policies together and I can be whole. I only have one son. So is he going to take care of me when I can't take care of myself?
Right.
Well, I'm going to make sure that I can help him out because I've got the policies in place that, hey, you can call the lady. She can come in for 8 hours a day for, however long I need to and take care of me. So I don't want to be a burden. But a lot of people don't think about that. And you're right with the Affordable Care Act, that pre-existing conditions being waived and not being you don't have it, that was a lifesaver for a lot of people and people very close to me. Older people in the 50s and the 60s, I do remember families would get together and take care of you. Not today. Everybody's too busy. You can't depend on that. Everybody's too busy. They're either on their iPads, their iPhones, they're doing something. Even with the pandemic, you've got older people in houses that nobody can come to visit them. The loneliness, the mental illness, the depression that sets in. There are so many things that are happening. When I talk to someone, I do Medicare too, and when you talk to the seniors, they just want to talk. They just want to talk.
They just
And
want
so
somebody to listen.
I end up talking to them for hours because my clients tell me that for some reason I am comforting when they talk to me.
Mhm.
And to my fault, I'm happy to talk to them.
It's not a
I'm
fault.
happy.
That's a blessing that you because this pandemic has really instilled patience in me. But also the caregivers, all caregivers out there, it's hard.
It's hard.
The lifting, the turning, the cleaning of the incontinence, the food they can't swallow, preparing the food. They don't want to take a bath. They don't want to get out of bed. They don't want to, they don't want all of that. They regress back to, as the old saying is, once an adult, twice a child.
And you don't think about this when you are 30, 40, and 50. You don't think about it
But
because
it's happening to 30 and 40 and 50-year old.
it
Don't think
absolutely
that you're gonna be guaranteed. I look at my mother, I say 91. The Bible told me 70. Anything after that, you riding on grace. Okay.
mhm,
So she done got 21 years of grace, and I'm hoping that I get it. But the wear and tear on, again, the PTSD, the isolation, not being able to be with that loved one when they get sick, and then when they get to the hospital, people looking at you like you got antennas, because the first thing they ask you is your insurance. Who's your insurance carrier?
That's the first thing.
You know,
That's the
we
first
had to
thing.
have the ambulance come here, and luckily, my mother has stellar insurance. Absolutely, she's covered to the hilt. But I
Mhm.
got the bill. It was $2,500
Yes, yes,
just for the ambulance.
yes, yes.
And we're not talking about what happens when when you get in there, you have to have a procedure. And I was in the pharmacy, and I was in tears. This woman was standing there, and she was going to pick up her medication. And the woman said, "Okay, that'll be $240." And she looked and she said, "I don't have $240." I was about to whip out my credit card and pay it. But then I got to thinking, okay, if I pay for it this month, who's going to pay for it next month? She turned around, she said, "Well, can I just get a couple pills to last me?" So
Wow.
it's things like that that really break my heart, you know.
Hmm.
And you have small children that have, uh, problems. You don't think about them either. You remember Gerber? That was as soon as you had a baby, that's the first thing they handed you was a Gerber life insurance policy, a term policy. No, it wasn't term.
I
It,
had one for my granddaughter,
yeah, it
but that
wasn't.
was the first thing I thought about.
Do they still do that? Do they still do the Gerber?
Yes, yes, we do. But there's a better vehicle, there's a better product. And I recently found out about it, and that's what I'm doing for her.
Wow.
So,
So it's not so, but the Gerber was a whole policy where you
right, it's a
could make an
grow
investment,
up
right?
policy.
Yeah, and then
Mhm.
you could. Okay, so let me ask one last question.
Yes.
Uh, Now, say for example, everybody is different, but this is just general information. If you have a policy that has cash value, we'll use a nice round figure, $10,000. You
Hmm.
pull down $4,000. You got $6,000 left. It's not still a $10,000 policy. You only get the difference, correct?
Meaning, when you pass away.
Right. If someone
Yes,
passes.
yes, they will take that. They will take that loan. They will take that money. It definitely, definitely. It's, you have to realize that you have to pay for the insurance. So you have insurance, and that's what you're using. You have to pay for it, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. Well, it's my money. Well, you have insurance so that there's a death benefit, and that's what it'll be taken away from the death benefit should you pass away. That loan.
Now, there's girl, we could talk about insurance all day long because I got some crazy questions. People take an insurance policy out on somebody else, and then something mysteriously happens to that person. You know, uh, can you take out insurance on somebody else without their permission?
Oh, you have to have their permission, but you have to have also an insurable interest, is what they call it.
Okay.
So if I have a cousin or someone and they don't have any children, but they have assets and they want an insurance policy, I can own it and be the beneficiary. You have to have an insurable interest. You just can't, say I'm going to take out a policy on this person. Well, and they own it and they make you the beneficiary. You can do that if you want to, if as long as the person agrees to the insurance policy and whoever they want as the beneficiary, you can do that. But I can't physically go and say, you know what, he's homeless, I'm going to take out an insurance policy on him without him knowing it. You
Because
can't do
people got all that trickery, girl. They take out an insurance policy and then they bump you off.
that. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. It's been known to
Oh
happen.
yeah, and so be careful about that. But again, have all of your documentation in order too. If you have not went back and revisited who is your beneficiary,
Yes,
have
and just.
you divided it among your siblings? Do
Mhm.
people know? Maybe you don't necessarily want them to know, but do they know where your important documents are?
Right. Well,
That
I have a planner coming out. I am working on it because when my husband passed away in 2015, now we worked together all day, every day. But guess what? I didn't know what his PIN was when for the debit card. I didn't know that. I didn't know where the keys to the car were. He had some cars in storage. I'm like, well, okay. I didn't know. So there, you have to know. The bank in Arizona, when someone passes away, these are things I didn't know. They shut everything down that that person had as far as banking information. Well, I deposited some checks in his checking account because we had separate checking accounts. We had joint checking accounts, but the separate one was, we were putting money in his. I couldn't access that money. I didn't know. I didn't, there's so many things that you don't know when someone passes away, and you could live with them every day. Where are the keys to the car, the PIN number, the bank account, how the logins, the password, the Facebook. The Facebook page was still active for 4 years. So you have to talk about these things. So I have a planner coming out. It'll be coming out in a few weeks that I will be giving my clients, and it'll be a price to it. But I have everything that you need to know about your spouse, your mother, your father, everything, the
Right.
checking account.
Keys,
You log into
keys
your
to the
checking
safety
account.
deposit box. What is the combination to the safe?
Yes,
You know,
yes,
people don't think about that kind of stuff. They
yes,
don't think about it. And when the bank shuts it down, then you have to go hire an attorney, go through this whole probate rigmarole, give an attorney a third of what you was going to get, when
yes,
all you need to do is write it down from the get-go. A
yes,
living will and trust
yes.
is paramount. It is
Very,
worth the investment.
definitely.
All you do is pass it on. You don't have to, again, necessarily tell anybody what they're going to get, but let people know how to get the information that is important. If you love them, if you care about them, make it easy for them.
Right. And that way they don't fight. They don't fight about who's getting what, and when am I supposed to get this, and everything is clearly documented. That is so important in our community because we don't want so and so to have this or have that. Well, then put it in writing. Put it in writing. And
And
so
all you
those are
have
the
to
things.
do is, yeah, all you have to do is pretend you did one time and sit there. When we did ours, we started to chuckle. It was like, we come back from the grave, we gonna watch this and how this is going down. But again, make it easy for people. The death of a person is already heavy enough
Yes.
without all of these other liabilities, without all of this arguing. And then let people know who to contact, to get this information. Because also, there's a lot of money out there that insurance companies are holding that people aren't able to claim because they don't know how to find you. They don't
Mhm.
have your, what is it called? Unclaimed funds. Uh,
Uh-huh. I check it all the time.
I do
And I
too.
have unclaimed funds. And I have the death certificate. I have everything I need. I'm just too lazy to send it in. So there's so many things that people have to think about when someone passes away. Where is the death certificate? How many copies do you need? One copy is not enough because 2015, he passed away. And just recently, I became aware of the unclaimed funds. The insurance company had to send me a notice. I'm like, what? So, you have to, there's so many things that you have to think about. And the only reason that I can impart the knowledge is because I've been through it personally. And my clients have been through it. And one more thing we don't think about, we have health insurance, but there are gaps in that health insurance. So there's so many other policies and things that you can get to pay and help you with those gaps. And those are the things that I make sure my client is whole with.
Well, I'm so glad that I had you here. Again, I want you to come back because
Right.
there's a lot that I could still ask you about. And brains, this is just stuff that we're throwing out. We want you to be whole. We want you to be a brain. We want you and your family to be healthy and happy. Again, in the event of your untimely demise or not even death, because a lot of folks are being just disabled.
Yes.
And being disabled, it can suck everything out of you.
If you think your employer is going to take care of you when you become disabled, you have to think twice. Think again
Nope,
because they're not. They're going to go on to the next person.
that's right. That's right. And insurance companies, if some of these politicians get their way, we won't have the Affordable Care Act. We won't have Social Security. We won't have benefits. You won't be able to get your COVID shot, and you'll
Nope.
be laying up there, and you won't even be able to get on the ventilator, okay? Because the insurance is not going to take you. So,
Right.
yes, it's uncomfortable to think about. Yes, it's scary. But hey, if you live long enough, you're going to get a turn at the wheel. Because
Right.
believe me, death is a promise. We are all going to die.
Definitely.
So, how do we live with you, Elea? Tell us how to get in contact with you, baby.
Okay, so all you have to do, you can go and schedule an appointment, or you can call me. My website is www.insurewithpfe.com, or just schedule an appointment on my calendar, bit.ly/talk with Elea, and that's spelled ELEA.
Well, I'm so glad to have you here. Again, you are a super brain. Yes, you are,
I
my
love
sister.
it. I love it.
And I love you. And brains, we love you too. We trying to give it to you straight with no chaser, whether you drink or
Thank,
not.
thank you.
All right, here's to you, my sister. Thank you so
All
much.
right,
Keep doing what you're doing.
there we go.
All right. Bye, brains. Have a good day. Get
Bye
your
bye.
paperwork in order. Okay? Get your paperwork straight.